I've said this many times before, and I'll say it again. All great artists steal. That doesn't mean that you should just take something and not adjust it to your use case, but that just means you want to borrow things as inspiration. And in today's session, that is exactly what we're going to be doing all day. We're going to think about things from a couple of different layers, depending on what part of the journey you're on, right? If we navigate from the transcript, which is completely relevant today, and go directly to the resources, we can probably divide things into a couple of sections. And I want to say that there are libraries that you can use pre first prompt, and then some of them that you can use during the building process itself. But there's also this murky mid layer, which is like you can use them whenever, right? So let's start from the top and like places where I go to get inspired before I start building. We talked about Dribble before, so I'm not going to show it today again. What I'm going to be showing instead is the other two spots. So the first one is Mobbin, and I bought an annual subscription for Mobbin through the Lenny's Deal library, right? But why Mobbin is great is because it exposes you to real apps, right? So not hypotheticals, not something that is AI generated, but something that's generated by likely a human designer and proven to be quite successful as well. Because you can see here, these are real companies that we've all heard of in the past, right? So if I want something that looks and feels like Apple Fitness, I can actually open it up and I can see all the screens in one spot, right? Without having to have it open. And I can copy those designs as well and try to implement them into my own designs, right? So if I wanted to start a project, I could select multiple screens like this and basically copy them all using Figma or just download them, which in my case, I would probably just download all 4 screens. And then from there, dump them into a new lovable build and just be like, okay, I'm trying to build maybe something like, let's do this, like really simple prompt. Trying to build a fitness tracker, I want you to rely on making it a mobile first experience and using the exact pixel perfect designs as I have in this application or on these example screens, right? So I'm just basically asking Lovable to follow the structure that is presented. I'm going to extract this on my side because it's zipped, right? And then I'm just going to load this right in, right? 4 screens that I just downloaded from Mobbin that are being uploaded in here, right? Obviously, I took just a couple of random ones. Let's be more methodical, so that I set myself up for actual success. So I'm gonna copy this one as well, right? Because I think this one is the critical one, and I'm gonna give it that one, and then let's find something else, maybe this one because it provides this calendar overview. And you can add up to 10 of these, by the way. And I think you should go all the way and really try to give Lovable as many references as possible. And then when I'm done uploading all of these, I'm just gonna send the prompt away and let Lovable work on it. As usual, we never just build one app, we go to the next one, right? Let's go over to Landing Folio. Landing Folio is a full landing page website with a huge library. It has like components as well, which are, Tailwind CSS optimal, meaning that you can actually take these and bring them over to Lovable. Personally, these look too simple sometimes for my own personal taste. So what I would do otherwise is I would probably use this website for inspiration purposes only and just really go in there and try to find something that I really like. As you can see, these designs are really great. They're definitely created by world's best designers. So if I like something like this, I could actually take it and translate it into code. So Landing Folio has, I think, it requires a paid plan for you to be able to extract a landing page into code, right? So you can go into the actual page itself to take a quick look at it, just to see how it looks like as well. Some of these are replicable, some of them are not. Some of them, maybe you can go to the page source in there, and if they're HTML, maybe you can take that code and try and see if you can download it as a file and have Lovable actually try to implement it. So that's what I would do personally here, maybe. For this type of a template, I would just probably get it selected, and then from there, you either try to import it into Lovable, or if it's like too big of a file, then you just go to like a Notes app, right? Just regular Notes app, nothing crazy, and you just paste it into your notes, and then save it as website, whatever. You're probably not able to see what I'm doing, but I'm just copy pasting, really. That's all I do. And then let's open another Lovable project. And from here, let's try to use one of the prompts that I have in here as a guide, which is using, this is images for references, and this is like importing components, And then I can say, I can take this one, which is like, I want to get the style of this app, really. Right. And then I will attach this file that I just downloaded. And I'm going to delete this part right here because I'm building something from scratch. Again, the prompt here isn't as relevant as the reference, right? I think what you should always ask Lovable to do is try to replicate things to the best of its ability. And as you can see right here, it built this tracker to look pretty cool. I don't know if it added all the pages. It may not have done so, but it doesn't matter. I have a really good starting position. Like I can now ask Lovable to, do this weekly trends view, do the activity ring dashboard with animated progress. And then maybe I can say, look through the designs that I provided you with earlier and try to replicate all of those screens for me, right? We're just using this as a baseline. We're trying to get into this mindset of like, oh, I don't need to create everything from scratch. I can use other designs as a reference and build something of my own. As you can see here, Lovable is trying to fetch stuff from this website and basically taking screenshots along the way and trying to get to a place where it's able to recreate what I want it to. So we talked about starting and different ways to start. This is yet another way, another couple of tools that I wanted to add to your sort of stack when it comes to getting inspired how your initial landing page should look like. What I think the core of this lesson, though, is this second part, which is when you have something, how do you make it cooler, nicer, right? When I have this page running, how do I get this, hero section to pop, right? How do I get it to really, really look good? And that's where some of these other places come into play. The first one is 21st Dev. 21st Dev is one of my favorite tools for borrowing great designs because like it basically provides you with not just the designs, but designs that can be translated back into prompts and code, which, as we've learned on day 5, are probably the best way to start projects in Lovable in the first place, right? So let's find something. Again, we talked about a hero section. So on 21st Dev, again, a paid tool, also has a free plan. Personally, I'm paying for it because I like it. We get in return. So if I wanted to build some kind of an effect or bring in something, you don't even have to replicate everything. You can just open something and maybe you like the background effect here that is supposed to trigger and pop off. If it doesn't, you just dismiss it. Like, try and find something that actually works for you. Let's take this, for example. I've used this in the past. Like, I can just click here and then basically click to copy the prompt and then just pretty much apply this effect, text effect, which is kind of an appearance text, onto our hero section. So what I would do here is I would probably use the visual editor, right? And I'm just going to select all of these 3, and ask Lovable to implement this motion effect onto these screens. Implement the motion effect that you can find in the prompt below onto these 3 components, right? Really nothing crazy. Your prompt doesn't have to be like crazy structured or anything like that. And then from here, as you can see, there's a prompt built in by 21st Dev specifically on how this should be done, right? So I'm not doing anything. I'm just copy pasting the prompt from 21st Dev, which also, by the way, has certain code snippets, as you can see, that are dictating how the behavior of this should be. Now, you can say to ignore the text of it. You can say to apply the exact text. That's entirely up to you. Usually what I do personally is like, I don't like to have it make changes on my project on the copy or the images. I just want cool effects such as this one. I used this one in the past, right? So let me show you just how this looks like. Whereas, like, you can see as you scroll, if you scroll up, it then zooms into a completely different image that is right now located in the middle, and it's kind of a video. Like, it's super cool. Like, you can do a lot of things, like going from static to dynamic, and you can update obviously the visuals that you want it to be to use. Let's see, this is another kind of a gallery component that is supposed to trigger. Sometimes this takes a little while to load. So, be more patient than I am, I guess. Wait for it to load so that you can see all the options. Very similar place to this one is React Bits, right? Which, has definitely a free and, as you can see, a pro account level. If you go to the free version of it, right, you can just find a bunch of components. Just go to Browse Components. And then from there, you can find whatever you want to use. Like, I've used this ball pit stuff. I've used these swap cards. So we're going to use something. I'm just going to show you. It's a little bit of a different workflow, but it's kind of the same thing. And if you remember, we had a very similar menu to this one on this same app, which, by the way, you can see that this motion effect has now been implemented. So let me refresh and just, again, you can see that now I have this new effect that just popped up, but now you know that we have this part right here. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to prompt Lovable to use this effect from React bits on this. All you have to do is go from preview to code, and then from there, I usually either switch stuff up here or I don't touch anything. I just copy this, and then TypeScript, Tailwind, great. I just copy this as well, right? I don't look at it. I just copy the code. I go back to my project, and again, free form brain dump by prompt Lovable, something like this. Please update the component that I just selected based on the code snippet that I'm about to paste below. Right? I don't even go any further than that. And then I just add stuff based in the order that I copied it. So this was the first part, then this was the second part, right? And then this was the third part, right? I hope that was copied the right way. And then I just send it over this way, right? All good. Let's just let Lovable do its thing on it, right? So React Bit's very similar, a little bit of work on your end to just take these code snippets. You can review elements independently. You can even tweak them, right? And then based on how you tweak them, you can actually get the code that is up to date on that. So you can find a bunch of stuff, really. There's a lot of hero sections, from what I gather, on most of these libraries. But there are things like this as well. There's a counter, which is pretty cool. So play around, see what's out there. I didn't even have to log in to do this. So React Bits is very convenient. Hover.dev is another one that I recently started using. Also very similar to everything else that I've been showing you so far. Just a little bit of variation. The reason why I use so many of these is because they have pretty unique designs. Some of them are only available, for instance, on Hover.dev. They're like this one, for example, or this one. I really like this one, which is kind of like logo origami, and it's free. And you can use it. It's really cool to showcase it. Same thing like with all other ones. Only this one is like fully in React JavaScript, so you just take the code, right? And you just ask Lovable to implement it somewhere. Let's go to another project so we don't have to wait. Let's get to this one, and I'll just ask it to add this testimonial section based on this component. Based on the code snippet I'm about to provide you, please introduce a small-scale testimonial section, which will feature a list of companies that are using our services. Whatever, and then I will just paste this right in there. Right? Just let Lovable do its magic. Again, you can see this is all code, so I'm not writing any of it. I'm just copy pasting it, right? So we did Mobbin, we looked through Hover, we looked through a couple, and then we have these hybrid ones, right? Those are probably the most interesting ones yet. They're fairly new. One of them actually is so new. I've just tested it out today, right? The founder of the tool messaged me on LinkedIn, shared it with me. So this is super fresh, right? And Variant is not one of them. Variant is this new tool as well, fairly new, that features an amazing community design showcase, which allows you to export different designs. I've actually worked with this one. Let me show you how it's done. You just click to explore wide or explore narrow, and then that loads this screen up, and on top of the design you are exploring creates another 4 variations for you, which is great. I'm on a free plan on this one, and it's pretty generous. You get like 60 designs a day, which is nuts, like that you can get so many. And it's super unique style. The cool bit is that you can click on these 3 little dots, and then you can see that you have export as React, download as HTML, but even cooler, you have open in Lovable as an option, right? They know why coders come here. So I would just copy this, and then I just pasted it right in and said, I really love this design. Let's build an HR onboarding app specifically that relies on this design, right? And as you can see, I mean, it just created it pixel perfect almost, right? If we go back to Variant and we open this up full screen, I mean, you can tell that these are super close to one another. So I've established the baseline. I have a single page. Now I can build all the other pages to look exactly like this. Again, you create something new, or you copy something that exists in the community showcase, export it like this to open it up in Lovable by copying the prompt, and then just go to Lovable and either implement this as a completely new application, or ask Lovable to maybe redesign one of the pages or redesign some of the components based off of this design, right? So that's what I mean by saying that these are hybrid. And then the final one is all called Screens Design, screensdesign.com. I think it's defaulting to primarily being mobile first, which is, again, the world we live in, has a massive library of apps, like thousands of them, 2,000 of them. And you can create more than just entire apps. You can look through buttons, or you can look through other components, right? And focus your attention on screens. And what's cool about this one is, again, you can go and find similar images. You can see the app videos. These are most times real applications, right? And you can see their screens, or you can just create your own designs, right? And when you go to create your own designs, you're guided through this process, which is pretty interactive, where you're asked a bunch of questions. And then based on your answers, again, you get these screens as sort of a canvas, and then you can export them. You can download them for code editors. You can download them as images. You can copy them to Figma. You can continue prototyping. You can do whatever you like. For me personally, Lovable is always going to be my first tool of choice. So what I would do is I'd probably look and see if I like these designs. I do. Then I'll just, again, download them, go to Lovable, ask it to implement these designs. I would download them as code, right? Likely as HTML, or just copy HTML. And by the way, Lovable, even though it's a React-based app, does wonders working in HTML. So again, Lovable.dev, and I would just be like asking it to replicate the design based on my code snippet, and you can go and ask it to do that, right? Again, just take this prompt as a baseline if you want to, paste it right in here, and then just paste the actual code snippet, right? That's it, right? I'm just going to send it away and see what comes out of it. Like, again, we are testing, we're playing around. You're trying to get somewhere without having to start from scratch. You're starting from something that you already know how it looks like. As you can see here, this is sort of a replica inspired by this VSK design. So it's not pixel perfect, right? Which is okay, because we want to have the author maintain their own unique design style. But we were able to load up a text file with the code and just get something that looks close to what he built. Again, still better than if I just prompted my way to it, I feel, at least, right? And then you can see right here how replication of Apple design looks like. Again, pretty cool, pretty close. Like, I could just continue prompting. Now I have a good baseline. Now I would change the fonts, I would change the colors, but at least from a UI perspective, I think I'm on the right path there, right? If we go and take a look at how was this implemented, we asked for a Rolodex testimonial. As you can see right here, it's implemented. Now I would just have to update the real logos, make sure that the colors are up to date, but the effect is what's inside here, and it works, right? Sometimes it's not going to render perfectly. That's fine. You just ask Lovable to re-update it, and it's, again, much faster than designing it from scratch. In here, we already covered this one, and let's see how Lovable did on this one. See, like, again, perfect. Really, really perfect replication of a component that I asked it to replicate here, right? So pretty awesome. Super happy. Let's take a look at this one. Great. Lovable took the HTML that we did in the screen design app and replicated it in here. So I can just continue adding more and more and more, and just ask it to optimize this for desktop, or, just now we have a good baseline that Lovable can use. Hope you learned something today. Hope you saw something that you haven't seen before. The main point of this lesson is use external UI libraries whenever possible. Shipping like a pro doesn't mean you need to be a great designer. It just means that you need to expose yourself to greatness and find what great looks like, and then try to bring that into your Lovable builds, right? An example of workflow would be you wanted a good hero section, you find something on 21st Step, you copy the Lovable prompt, you then use the visual editor to make certain spacing decisions and whatever, then add something from React bits and then make it mobile first, right? It's really about stop guessing what beautiful looks like and taking matters into your own hands. See you tomorrow when we're going to talk a little bit more about how to make your app mobile first. Keep shipping.